Hello, viewers of Inside ArtScroll and listeners of JM and the AM. We have a very special guest we're going to be speaking to about the music of Shabbos. Imagine elevating our Shabbos miros with notes of inspiration. A brand new book from ArtScroll that includes full Hebrew text of all zmiros and pizmonim with translation. And who's responsible for this? Along with Rabbi Yisroel Besser, the one and only Yaakov Shwekey. Pleasure to welcome you, Yaakov.
What that iconic voice of Nachum Segal.
I have a lot
is
of
still ringing true.
I appreciate that, and I get a lot of pleasure introducing you on stage and being able to tell everybody that you're about to entertain and inspire us. And here's another way to inspire the worldwide audience with a book, a sefer, an incredible collection entitled Zmiros Shabbos, the music of Shabbos. It's almost 300 pages. It has an accompanying amazing album of medleys of Shabbos, Zmiros, and Pizmonim. Where did this idea come from?
Like everything in music, I always tell you, it starts off as a small thought, which was 5-6 years ago. My dear friend David Hillel in Deal, New Jersey, I think it was in his house or my house, eating on the Shabbos table, and realizing that there's great compilations of collections of songs. People put out some really nice, they send me all these new things that come out with all the songs, right. And now there's one with English song, and I loved it. I really loved it. But I dug deeper, and singing it with my own children, first of all, them forgetting the actual tune, and they don't even realize what they're singing or what they're doing. Even myself, Yom Zeh Mechubad Mikol Yom, Ki Yashmer Shabbos Keli Shmereini. What exactly does that mean? If I keep Shabbos, it watches over me. What does that mean? I want to tell my child.
Right.
I want to be able to tell my child, what are we singing? Ki Yashmer Shabbos. So here I said, you know what? We have to make a book. And this was years ago already. My parents passed away recently, so I said, you know what? What's the legacy for my parents? What did they leave over with us? Truth is, I don't remember all the deep divrei Torah my father gave on the table. A lot of it I don't remember. What do I remember? I remember the joy of song. I remember the joy of singing my siblings together. And I said, you know what? That's what we're going to leave over. You want them to be happy Jews. You want your children to have happiness and joy in life. They just have to know what the music is about. They have to sing that. Give them a story. Give them some sort of, not deep, just inspiration of what zmiros we're singing, what we're doing. And then the clock of the, table to couch, won't be moving that quickly, where as soon as they eat their main course, they're already,
And nothing against the modern melodies, and you could speak for those, but I would assume that also part of it is you wanted your children, and really Klal Yisrael, to be familiar with the most authentic, old-time zmiros and pizmonim.
Very well said. I mean, there was a great interview taking place years ago in a synagogue in Israel with a very modern, I'm not sure even if he was a religious Israeli singer. He said something very, like the interviewer is asking the singer, saying, what do you think your fan base in 20 years, will they remember you? And the guy took a study, he says, the truth is, I'm thinking about it right now, I'm not sure they'll remember my songs, all these modern songs that I put. It's great, don't get me wrong, you need new songs, but will they remember it in 20 years? But the songs they sing in here in this synagogue, that they will remember forever. And going back to where it all started, the zmiros of Shabbos, the songs that you're right, the iconic songs of the Jewish table. This is our foundation of who we are. You're right. It's going back and starting where it all started.
So we have this observation that the combination, the trio of Yaakov Shwekey, Rabbi Yisroel Besser, and Shabbos is a very good combination. And why Rabbi Yisroel Besser? Meaning, this could have been, and by the way, the first time you and I ever spoke about this, I was under the impression it was a beer cone. It was something that would include, tidbits, so to speak, about zmiros, and certainly encourage people to learn the words and to sing along, etc., etc. This is a whole sefer. This is a book about Shabbos zmiros. At what point did you say someone like Rabbi Yisroel Besser needs to be involved in this project?
Well, it's going back, first of all, to the first interview I had with my friend Yisroel Besser, Rabbi Yisroel Besser. He came to my house, and after I visited Rav Shalom Rabashkin in jail at the time, And I was telling him about the songs, about I want to dedicate something to Rubashkin. I felt very close to him. And I wanted people to, to daven for him, like everybody else. And I got to know him through that interview. He sat, well, the truth is, Nachum, you would know this, that when you sit with somebody who can interview well and asking you the right questions and be able to delve deeply into your way of thought.
And hit the right points.
And hit the right points, and not just asking you, how old were you when you started.
Right.
It's very important to, and I felt really like he was hitting all the points correctly, and I got very close to him from that interview. And we started to talk all the time. And I realized that when we talked together, we just were able to come up with thoughts, chidushim, different things that, And when I came up with this concept, I said, there's no greater, of course, ArtScroll, of course, Rabbi Gedalia Zlotowitz,
right.
His relationship with Rabbi Yisroel Besser. And I asked Rabbi Gedalia, I said, I think he's the right candidate. And right away he said, for sure, you guys hit it off together so well with the interviews. And he was able to just bring certain points to life that I felt was deep yet simple. And to have the depth, and by the way, it goes like that with songs too. You want a chiddush song, but you also want it simple for the generation to sing. So that combination, I felt that he did a great job. He was able to, the WhatsApps back and forth every Thursday before Shabbos. What's your thought on this?
So when he's making an observation, telling a story, explaining something, taking a couple of pages to really hone in on one of the zemeros, are you working with him on that, or is that separately his department?
No, of course. There is something called reflections in this book, which is all my reflections of what he asked me, and those word for word basically of what I said. Then there is the chidushim that he asked me that he's incorporating into the zemer. Yaakov, why do you think it is that it says, I don't know, mimarim lavoi l'Shabbos and and what do you feel? What's your chiddush? Like, what's your explanation even? What that means? And I would think, and I'd say, you know what? I feel like I learned something that correlated with, and I would give him a whole explanation of what I think, and then we would finish that off with a thought that, deep into the zemer of what we're singing and what we're doing.
Was there any observation about Basar v'dagim v'chol matamim? Because that's one of my favorite parts of Shabbos,
Basar v'dagim. Why does Basar go before dagim?
What does Yaakov Shwekey say
Sometimes
about
we
that?
Eat the fish before the meat.
Correct.
Right. It's a good question. I don't know if that's in there,
Take
but Basar really is the meat. The meat is the most expensive, the most chashuv, the most, and that should go. It goes in order of the expense of Shabbos on the meat. Right. It will come right back at you. So there's actually stories of my father, Olav Hashalom, when he was, he did well in business. He didn't do well financially. I never felt like, even when my father, thinking back now, as I get older, Shabbos is always, I used to go to the store with him. He writes that in the book. I used to go to the store with him, and we were the richest people. Let's get this. He made us feel so happy and I didn't realize he was struggling financially, and there's no question the prices have risen dramatically since I'm a child, and it's not easy for a lot of people. But what you can do is, if you are able to, give a little more and give your child a feeling that Shabbos is so special. I want to give you this extra thing. No question. He used to always tell me, what do you mean it's going to come back double? It's coming back double. He really knew it and he felt it. That got into me as I got older, and the child is recording everything. And I recorded those thoughts. I recorded those feelings. That Shabbos now, I'm like, now my wife tells me like I buy triple the amount, and I'm a little crazy. But if you can really give that covet to Shabbos and make your children feel like, hey, you want that kid? No problem. Let's do it.
We're in different areas of public life. Some would call it show business. I apologize for even using that term, but you know what the show is all about. I know what the show is all about. And someone said to me, remember, the real show is the Shabbos table. That's where you get the opportunity to show your children what's important, to interact with them in a beautiful way. I mean, you were talking about music and Divrei Torah. What's more beautiful than that? And I would assume that if you're producing a book, a sefer like this, that you get the feeling that your Shabbos table has been that type of positive show.
There's no question about it. I feel like it's the place of chinuch for your children. It's everything, because especially
even
today,
fun and excitement.
Especially today with the technology, where we see how busy you can be, and how you can do great things with technology. But Shabbos table is where you stop everything, you look around the table, you thank Hashem for a beautiful week, you get to really spend time with your children. And singing is just, you don't have to be the professional singers to just sing a Shabbos zemer around the table with happiness and joy. Right. And when will you get that happiness and joy? When you really know a little bit more of what we're doing. There was a great skit, I think I say this in the book also, I think he put it in, is that there was children, it really hit me, this story. It happened in my area a few years ago, where 4-year-olds are doing a mock table in their nursery, whatever it is, and they asked this little boy, 4-year-old boy, whatever it is, to do the kiddush, like his father would. So he takes the cup, he takes the fake, little silver cup, and he sits down like his father, and before he looks at the cup, he's just looking around like his father does, and all of a sudden, before kiddush, he puts the cup down, and he bangs on the table, and he says, "Oh, I had a hard week this week. Oh, was it difficult?" And they all laughed like you're laughing. But then they told the father about it, and he's like, "What?" He's like, he didn't even realize his son was recording everything. And he was copying his father. And he says, "You know what? I have to."
He's got to adjust.
Right, even if I'm doing it just as now I realize that the Shabbos table is everything for the chinuch of the children. They're recording everything. You have to really and you can't fake it.
100%. We're speaking about Zmiros of Shabbos, the music of Shabbos. Rabbi Yaakov Shwekey, Rabbi Yisroel Besser.
Doesn't say that on there.
It doesn't say that. That's me. That's me in my edition. Now, there are people who release Birkonim and Zmiros, etc., and they don't include everything, because there are some Zmiros and Pizmonim that are not as popular and may not be included, as I said. You have everything in it. I looked at the table of contents.
Did you look at it?
I was desperately trying to find what did you include. Especially, you might be more familiar, I said, with the Sephardic custom and the Ashkenazic. What can I get him on? Yaakov Shwekey. And nothing, it's all there.
We tried to really include a lot. Now, it's 300 pages. Can I get there and dissect and have more obscure songs? There's no question we can. But I believe the foundational songs that are connected to the Shabbos.
Sure. Oh, it's comprehensive.
Yeah, it's comprehensive. It has a lot.
100%. And again, there are families that we'll sing Kol Mekadesh, for generations of my family. Right. There are families who don't do that, they don't know what it is. Baruch Hashem Yom Yom. There are families who don't know what it is. They go straight to the more jovial and parts of Zmiros.
Even that, if you could connect to it. Meaning a lot of the things you're right. I also, before I did this, I didn't know a lot. I didn't put, when Yisroel Besser was putting back and forth with Chavrusas doing this, I said, wow, I can't believe, I didn't really, you go right into this and know there's, what exactly, there's Aramaic words, there's other parts, Rav Ravin. Right. I do a whole Koribon medley. The beautiful thing about this also is that we're going to have a music part of it, which is coming out of Mitzvah Hashem it's supposed to be a week after the book comes out. Every Thursday, there's going to be medleys of the average of 25 minutes each.
Wow. Teaching
you these songs with the greatest arrangers in all of Jewish music. I'm talking about Mona Rosenblum, Moshe Laufer, Yisrael Lamb, Ruvi Banet.
The legends.
The legends of even the today's, Yoli Dickman and Shia Kahler. And it's just an amazing, comprehensive, because now you can listen during the week.
Sure.
You want to hear, and a lot of these songs didn't have great recordings of, we had Yaakov Brown. I got to say thank you for bringing up I used to ask, me and Donnie Gross produced the music together. And Donnie it's the first time doing something with him.
Good man to work with.
Great man to work with. And we put a lot of hours together. And for us to delve in, and we were I'm telling you, smiling in the studio, Nachum, we never did music before.
Now, you've done medleys, and I would imagine a lot goes into thinking what belongs in this medley, etc. Are these medleys going to be Friday night, Shabbos morning, etc., or is it going to be something more?
Yes, in the schedule, we go in the schedule of Shabbos. We're going to start in Mitzvah Hashem with Erev Shabbos, arranged by Mona Rosenblum. And listen, you can do medleys of 45 minutes, but there is a limit to what we can. I did the songs that hit me. That grew, obviously the foundational songs, the classic songs, but the songs that also gives me nostalgia growing up. So we start off with Erev Shabbos. We go to Friday night. We go to Kabbalah Shabbos. We go to Onik Shabbos. Then we go to Shabbos morning. We go through the schedule, and you're able to every week in Mitzvah Hashem with the release of these medleys.
Right.
We can't do it all at once because there's a lot of stuff.
Right.
And then in Mitzvah Hashem at the end, we're looking to put out a brand new Shabbos album with all brand new Shabbos songs.
Composed by
some
of today's greatest composers?
Yossi Green,
Really?
Yitzi Waldner. Yeah, Yossi Green did some beautiful, and it's just, I told them,
completely
guys,
fresh. We've never heard anything
Baruch
like.
Chait, in memory of Shia Menlowitz, Olav Shalom. He did a song out for him.
Wow.
I composed Aneshes Chayil.
When did you start composing?
I don't know, it just hit me.
But how many years ago? Like you first wrote a song 20 years ago or 5 years ago?
I wrote years ago my own, but then when I met Yitzi Waldner, my chavrusa in music, I said, you know what, I'd much rather write it together, because if there's any faults,
He's too good.
also you can improve it a lot more than I can. But in this case, I was in a studio in Israel, and I was saying, you know what, my Ish is Chayil, my wife, my family, I want to do something special for this project. And it just came, it happens to be I was in a meeting about another Shabbos song, and I said, you know what, give me some chords. And I just felt a certain intuition. And
nothing like being inspired like that.
Yeah, and I gave it to Leib Yaakov Rigler.
Leib Yaakov, holy cow, amazing. So what's also interesting about the evolution of Zemeros and what we do today is that there are a lot of Zemeros that had zero, and I'm sorry for saying it like this, zero popularity, but a great nigun all of a sudden puts it at the forefront. And I think the best example is Koyach Sof. I don't think people really knew Koyach Sof, and a lot of families never sang it till the Bachram decided, they brought it back from Israel or from wherever it was that they were in yeshiva, and all of a sudden, you can't get through Friday night without Koyach Sof.
So true, by the way. You make a great point. Sometimes a nigun, the song that brings out the words, or hey, now what does it mean? Now what does it mean now? I'm singing it, so I want to know.
Now I need the explanation.
Now I need the explanation a little bit. I find that, listen, by the way, there's the last Tosfos, and I think Maseches Megillah, the second to last, talks about how did they remember all their learning without books back then? They did it through nigun, through songs. So sometimes you need the songs to actually, connect with. But you're right, these words I would never know. Kol Ech Soif, who would know?
And then, of course, again, maybe overstating the obvious, there are many of us, unfortunately, not familiar with Shalosh Zemeros like we should be, and certainly not familiar with Motzei Shabbos the way we should be.
Right.
When you walk into a family, into a home that takes Motzei Shabbos Zemeros seriously, you know you're in a special place.
It's true. Do we right away run to our phones and say, you know what, Shabbos is over, and it's true.
And by the way, you have a massive section for Motzei Shabbos.
Yeah, I happen to love Motzei Shabbos. There's so many different things that we did that just brought, you're right, it's not leaving Shabbos behind. It's taking Shabbos and bringing it into the week and not letting go.
100%.
And having that yearning that we want Shabbos to last all week.
And you even include piyutim that we may not be, I don't even know when these piyutim are said, frankly, like at what point during Shabbos, etc. So you really give us, talk about comprehensive, you give us everything here when it comes to Shabbos.
It's important to know that if it's going to be, I'll never forget, we went to Rav Moshe Shapiro, I had a trip to Israel with my Rebbe and a lot of people, and we went to Rav Moshe Shapiro, and a friend of mine was going through a hard time, and he asked the rabbi, he said, could you give me some sort of blessing for this situation? I forget what it is. And he said, the truth is, the greatest blessing that you can give yourself is the Makora Bracha. Kihi Makora Bracha is Shabbos. If you can 7 minutes, you'd think he told him 7 to 10 minutes, and if you really can't 12 to 15 minutes before Shabbos, well now it's in the winter, it's
a bigger challenge.
If you can give the kavod to Shabbos and do it before, and he actually took him seriously, and within no time this whole episode that he had really, turned around for him, and he blessed him. He said that because if you take Shabbos seriously, that will give you the blessing for all week. So you want to include everything. You want to try to include everything, all the details of Shabbos and how, it's there's a great story in the introduction there. I don't know if you got to it, where big mechanech, in Chinuch, Sora Moshe Shapiro in Israel. I mentioned his name, so I remember this introduction. Reb Hill Eisenberg, my chavrusa, in the morning, I quoted him in there. He said he once saw Moshe Shapiro getting into a car. He could never get him to talk to him. He said, you know what, I'm just going to grab his attention. Reb Moshe, I deal with hundreds of children that grew up they grew up religious, but I don't know what happened. Like, why is it happening so much in our generation? Like, he was really saying it from the depths of his heart. He wasn't trying to complain. He was trying to give a reason why these children are going off the path. And Reb Moshe looked at him. He was a very, he said it with a lot of fervor. And he says, do their parents dance around the Shabbos table? Do they sing songs of Shabbos? Do they give joy to Yiddishkeit? Do they? And he really said it also he said, they don't. He says, it says, Hamoitzim mechaver olav haraya, it says in the Gemara. If somebody wants to take something out from his friend, he's got to bring a proof why it's his. He said, they have so many things they look up to in this generation that's taking their attention. If you want to be moitzi them, if you want to take them out from where they are in that world, you got to have a good happiness and joy to you, for able to show them that something else really counts in life. So dance around the table, sing zemeres. And, the Mechanech got the point that, like I said before, you can't fake it. You have to really feel it. In order to feel it, you got to know it. And if you read it now and you really get into it, I do believe that this book is something essential, not because I really felt like it was a need for Klal Yisrael. It was something that people want to connect. I see it through music. Wherever I go I sing even the older songs. When I did Those Were the Days, the other medleys,
right.
Everybody started doing, which was beautiful, everybody started doing older songs. I do believe that Klal Yisrael really wants to connect. And Shabbos is the place where you
there's two things I'll say. Number one, you know who taught us that lesson more than anybody? That Klal Yisrael wants to connect those who were incarcerated by the enemy and who were held as hostage.
Right.
It's amazing to hear stories from people where Shabbos was not a major part of their life, and they'll admit that to you, and what Shabbos meant to them while they were in that situation, what it means to them now. So that was certainly a big example.
I saw it myself when I went to Israel 2 weeks. I was there for October 7th, and my Rebbe told me, you can't just leave, you got to go back to sing. 2 weeks later, I went with my wife, I went back. I got to know so many of the families. And now with Eli Sharabi, he wrote his own book.
Right.
I was with him in Mexico. I was singing there and he was speaking. I got to know his story in depth. I went out to eat with him, also with my son. I brought my son with me. And amazing stories, like you said, like Shabbos. Maybe we can, let's divvy up the portion a little more because it's Shabbat Kodesh. What special people we have. And a lot of them didn't even grow up with Shabbos, but they realized, hey, what is our heritage about? Now we're stuck here. I think, and it's amazing the stories of detail. We cried a lot of tears, obviously, together. I gave him my talis. I did a Kaddish song. He lost his family, and I dedicated the talis.
I think I saw the video of that. There was a video of it, right?
Yeah, it was there's a video out there, but it's just an emotional, and he put on the talis. He cried a lot. And all the hostages' names were at and all the people that passed away on the Kaddish song. But you're right. The foundation of Yiddishkeit is there to make us happy. And Hashem gave Shabbos to us in order. He knew the gullus. He knew what's going to happen to Klal Yisrael. They must connect through a certain joy if you want to really live life.
We knew it's a gift. We didn't realize it's this big of a gift. Shabbos.
Correct.
It's pretty amazing. Frankly.
I say there, I walk into the cleaners. My guy, for years, this guy Tony. I see pictures of his family on the wall. I'm like, Tony, you have a beautiful family. He goes, the truth is, and I see like pictures. They're cutting the turkey or whatever they're doing, and I'm like, Tony, this is your son. And all of a sudden he starts to get emotional. He says, you guys walk in here every Friday. He said, and by the way, this is a guy that does talesim and tzitzis for free.
Wow.
Because he feels that he wants to give back to religion. Amazing guy, like a goy. And I got to know him over the years, and he tells me, you guys are so lucky. I don't get to see my family. Maybe once a year they come with their phones, and everybody's with their phones.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Thanksgiving, right. Well, the one time a year, twice a year, we don't even know what.
Right.
And you guys every Friday walk in here to get your shirts or whatever it is, and talesim, and you have such respect for family, and you stop everything. Because he used to ask the rabbis all these questions. He's a very spiritual type of guy. And I walked in there, I walked out also crying. I said, Hashem, sometimes you need a goy to remind you, how
of the gift you have.
How special it is that what you gave us. I hope I can respect it enough. I hope I can give kavod to the greatest gift that you gave us and connect with it and leave a legacy for my children that they can, have a Shabbos table that's bringing the kavod that it's supposed to, and also we can't forget that it's for us.
100%.
He doesn't need it. He gave it to us for us to. Of course, he has nachas. And he, I feel like if we sit around the table and we connect that way through the joy, it would be something special for family and also, for our legacies.
Pretty amazing. It's incredible. It's Yaakov Shwekey and Yisroel Besser together. The music of Shabbos, elevating our Shabbos Zmiros with notes of inspiration, includes the full Hebrew text of Zmiros and Pizmonim with translation. Incredible job, Rabbi Besser, with the stories and the insights and all the different things that Yaakov pointed out. And every single zemer you can imagine is in here. I'm actually surprised that this type of sefer has not been released from this building up until now. This is really revolutionary.
I'm not surprised. Hashem gave me a place where to...
The right time.
The right time, the right situation.
Right.
There's always a place for a great idea.
100%. Indulge me for one more minute.
Sure.
Are you still traveling like crazy around the world?
I feel like I'm living on a plane the last
And more
2 months.
pre-COVID or more post-COVID in terms of the travel?
Post-COVID, I would say.
And that includes Mexico, Panama,
Came
Israel,
from
obviously.
Argentina, Brazil, and South America.
Lots of South America.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I got to tell you, Argentina. This is a shout out to Argentina. I haven't been there in a few years. I cannot believe the energy. The place was Nachum. You know concerts very well. The place, as I'm coming out to sing, was on fire from before I even got on stage, standing, and just every word. I couldn't believe it. Kaddish, Yehei Shemei Rabba, and the whole. And I'm telling you, I thought Mashiach was coming. I was so moved. I was moved to tears. As I get older, I get even more emotional. I was moved to tears to see the effect of the music. You could put out a song today here, and in Argentina, the next day, they already know every word.
It's unbelievable.
And they're celebrating it. And by the way, they connect the religion to music.
Right.
The music is everything. It's not just in New York, you have so many things to do. It's
their culture, their Jewish culture.
This is
the
it.
Music, right? And finally, the best story, I know it's putting you on the spot, but it's been 2 years of such a difficult situation in Israel. You had a lot of musical events and encounters.
Oh.
Give me one of them. Give me
Oh,
one
boy.
that was just, that brought out the emotion as you just described. I know you spent time with families, no doubt at Hostage Square, etc. Give me one.
I got to know also Einav, who lost her son, Ori. Her favorite song is En Davara Yored Min HaShamayim. There's no such thing as evil from heaven. And after her son died, he got shot, one of those 6. And it was amazing. A few days before, we had a concert for the Special Children's Center in Deal. And it was thousands of people. We brought her on stage to everybody should daven that her son should make it. And then when he got shot a few days later, everybody, there must have been like 7,000, 8,000 people. I don't even know. Everybody, I said, there's got to be a way he's coming out, and he didn't. And I'll never forget, speaking to her. She says, it's still my favorite song. I still believe that the amount of emunah, the amount she taught us, the amount. And then there is when we stopped. The first stop when we went back 2 weeks later, my wife and I, as per my Rosh Kollel, Rabbi Diamond telling me, you got to go sing for our people. You can't be here just learning. You have a shlichus. You got to go sing. And I said, you know what, Rabbi, you're right. I stopped learning and I went, and the emotions we had was, I remember the first trip from the airport. We landed, we danced with Hatzalah guys in the airport, and where are we going? Okay, let's just go. We went to the apartment of the father that his daughter was on the motorcycle, that famed picture.
Oh, sure. No argument.
I said, the truth is, I don't know who they are. I'm just going to pop in there. You know what? Yeah. We'll bring a guitar. I come in there. I see a man pacing back and forth on the bottom floor. And you feel awkward because you don't know how to. And we go over to the guy and we tell him, hey, Mr. Agamani, the truth is we're here for you. We want to sing with you. And he would like, my wife, the truth is very sick. And I'm not sure if this is the right time. I said, okay, we'll come back at a different time, no problem. Just know that we're here for you. And then he just changes it. He goes, you know what? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I said, okay, only if it's the right time. I don't want to. I literally thought we're going to be there 5 minutes. We go all the way to his apartment, bring out the guitar. We start singing. Ve'akadosh baruch hu matzilenu. And we're singing, and all of a sudden I see tears. Singing 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour. We just go. Hours. His wife wakes up, she comes out in the wheelchair. She was very sick. I think we were there for 3.5, 4 hours, whatever. We don't even counting. And then we did mincha, and he cried to Kaddish. I'll never forget it. He gave me such a hug afterwards. He says, I feel like I know you guys for 30 years. And I was like crying. We were all crying. He said a speech about his daughter, and thank God he was able, when his daughter came, we all celebrated in my house. And there was a Motzei Shabbos when we found out, and because I saw the pain in his eyes, and I told my Rosh Kol, how did you know to send me back like that? To see, first of all, music, you know this. It's just a language of the neshama that is able to mend all the differences. He can be a person, I don't know if he kept, I don't know what his situation was, his wife, and
forms
we could
a bond.
He felt like we knew each other for 30 years. We cried together. And it was an amazing, amazing...
Big yashar koach to you for all of that and everything you continue to do. Mazal tov on the brand
Thanks
new,
so
the
much.
music of Shabbos.
Appreciate it.
You and
Nachum.
Rabbi Besser, always a pleasure. And how's the guitar going, by the way? Are you doing well with the guitar, or have you?
You'll read, by the way, in the first page of the book about the guitar. And
It's
why,
an adventure.
No, and why I connected with this guitar teacher, because he became a Ger Tzedek, and he got married. A whole story about in the book.
All in there.
All in Chase Kaplan. But thank you, Nachum. Your voice should keep on ringing.
Amen.
Your voice still has that ring and
your
koach to
voice
it.
should keep on ringing.
Amen, amen. For many years to bring people together, Nachum.
Amen.
JM and the AM. It's beautiful to be here. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yaakov
Nachum.
Shwekey, everybody.
Thank you, Nachum.